Hi, welcome to episode 382 of the Corner of Knit and Tea. My name is Laura. I'm also known as Fluffy Kira on Instagram and Twitter. I blog over at thecornerofknitandtea.com, which is where each episode's show notes will be. And I have an Etsy shop called The Corner of Knit and Tea. Excuse me. Hi, how are you? It is Monday, June 13th, and I can hardly believe June is almost halfway over. My life is gearing up. I actually will be out of town next week, and there won't be a podcast next week. I am heading to Chicago for my first work convention in 3 years. The last convention I attended was TNNA in the summer of 2019. And I am going to attend the H&H show, which is being held in Rosemont, which is right out by O'Hare Airport in Chicago. Since the conference is basically just outside of Chicago proper, I'm going to go up a few days early and see my niece and nephew and my sister while I'm there. So there won't be a podcast next Monday, but I will return hopefully the following Monday. That Monday is going to be a big day back at work after being gone for a week. But hopefully I will return with at least a little bit of knitting content. I don't expect to get a lot done next week because I am driving by myself up to Chicago, which is about an 8-hour trip each way. And then I will be busy with the kids and then also at the conference. So I don't expect to have lots of knitting to show you, although I will still have a few more things that I'll finish this week, although I don't know if I'll still have them by then. So we'll just have to see. I will show you what I have this week, and then I'll see you again in 2 weeks, and I'll bring whatever I can. So I hope that you are having a good week. The weather has gotten very hot here. It is in the high 90s and very high humidity, so we are staying indoors to stay cool. Father's Day weekend is coming up this weekend in the US, so I am putting the finishing touches on my gift and sending it off to my father. And I think that covers most of what is going on here. If I'm talking a mile a minute, which I feel like I am, I'll try and slow down just a little bit so that you don't feel like you're watching the chipmunks. It's because I'm trying to get everything done this week so I can be gone next week. Even though I will be working at the convention next week, I'm trying to get all of my work tasks and everything I usually do done in advance to prepare for being gone for a week. So I hope you're doing well. Let's jump in. Today, I have a little bit of false advertising because I am using my tea time mug, which I got from Anthropology many years ago, and I love it. But in truth, I am drinking coffee. I felt like coffee yesterday, and so I made a pot, so I have some left over. This is my favorite. It is a vanilla caramel, and it is from a local coffee company here in Kansas City called the Brookside Roastery. And I added a little bit of cream and just a touch of sugar, and that is how I like it, and hopefully this will help me power through the rest of the day. It is about 3:30 in the afternoon, and I have a few more things that I need to get done before I can put today to bed. So I hope you are enjoying your day. Let's get into what I did this week. So I actually have quite a few finished knits to share with you this week, more than I thought I would. But I did not get a new chicken to knit this week, so I actually had some free time over the weekend and set about to knit and finish a lot of things. The first thing that I finished, and it's even blocked, is I finished my Painting Honeycombs hat. This is a hat by Stephen West of West Knits. It goes with his Painting Honeycombs collection, and actually it is still slightly damp because I washed it and blocked it. But I chose to do mine in 2 colors. In Stephen's pattern, he uses a whole bunch of different colors and minis. I had 2 colors that I wanted to use. I used Neighborhood Fiber Co. Studio DK in the colorways Bel Air, which is this bright green, and Washington Circle in the blue. And actually I have a pom-pom that I need to add. I had just enough left of the green for a pom-pom, and that will be added to my hat. And I absolutely love it. I think it's going to be great. I am knitting hats to donate to Knit the Rainbow, which is a 501c3 nonprofit charity that helps LGBTQ youth and adults who are dealing with homelessness. And they are one of the 501c3 organizations that is going to be at the H&H show, and they have encouraged everyone to bring knits to donate. I had a cabled hat that I did over Memorial Day weekend, which I showed you, and then this is kind of the remainder of the yarn into another hat. And so I just need to attach the pom-pom and weave in the ends and let it finish drying. And this is the second hat that I have. While I had some free time over the weekend, I decided, maybe I should knit another hat. I remember I had said I was going to do 2, and then I was overwhelmed, but I actually got a lot done this weekend. I can't wait to show you. And so I was like, why not just go ahead and do another hat? So I was actually looking for something else in stash, and you know how you go through one of your stash bins and you find something in there that you didn't remember you have. And these were some leftover skeins from some previous projects that I knit in Knit Picks Capra. And Knit Picks Capra is their cashmere blend. It is 85% merino wool, 15% cashmere, 123 yards DK weight. And I actually had skeins from 2 projects. I had 2 colors of pink from a hat project that I had done, and then I actually had about half a skein of teal from another project that I had done. And I decided to just go ahead and knit a color block hat, and I didn't think about it, but as it turns out, the colors that I used they're not exactly the same, but the colors that I used are very reminiscent of the trans flag, sorry. So I really like it. So this is the first one, and like I said, I had this teal, and then I had this real pale pink, and then I had this hot pink. So this is the first one, and it is washed and blocked. It's still a little bit damp, but it should be done drying this evening. So that's one of them. And then I thought, you know, I have just enough left. I think I can do one more hat. So the proportions on this one are a little bit different. First of all, it has not been blocked yet, and it will grow in blocking. But I used the last bits of the pink, and then I had a very last little bit of the teal, and because it's just on this very little bit up there, and I had just a last gasp of the skein, I actually finished all the skeins, and I made a pom-pom in the teal colorway. So I need to block the hat and then add the pom-pom. I used to block the hats with the pom-poms on, and while that's fine, and it can certainly be washed later with the pom-poms on, I decided to just go ahead and wash and block the hat and then attach the pom-poms later. So, because I think they're a little fluffier without. And so, like I said, I just need to wash and block this one. So I, all told between the 2 hats, I think I knit up about 300 yards of yarn, because I had like 3/4 of 2 balls, and then maybe about half of another skein, so between 250 and 300 yards. And now I have 4 hats to take with me. So I am done hat knitting for Knit the Rainbow, at least right now. The goal is to take them with me to the show next week and give them to them. I will certainly keep it in mind as another worthy cause to knit for in the future, and I am pleased to have donated something squishy and delightfully lovely, because this cashmere is just super soft, and I hope it will be very warm. It will keep some folks very warm. So that is what I finished of those. I also had another small finish that I had done a good chunk of before this weekend, but I decided to just knuckle down and finish it this weekend. And I hadn't wanted to share it with you along the way in case anyone else was doing the mystery knit along. I didn't want to spoil the surprise, but I took part in my first mystery gnome along. Sarah Shira, who is Imagine Landscapes, is known for her delightfully fun gnomes, and several times a year she does mystery gnome knit alongs. And this one was called Make Gnome Mistake. She is delightfully punny and super fun, and I have always wanted to knit one, and so I decided to get in on this one. And so I actually finished my gnome this week, and here he is. This is Gnocchi, named after the pasta, and one of his features that hasn't been in previous patterns is the colorwork hat. So I actually knit the colorwork hat several weeks ago. I kept up with the clues and finished it basically around the time that the clues came out every few days, and I finished up the hat more or less in time with the clues. I think I was delayed by a couple couple days. But the pattern itself has been finished since maybe June, has been out for about 10 days now, and the chance to enter for prizes was last week, and so this weekend I just decided I had to finish. I had knit the hat, and I had knit this fun beard, which is full of extra loops of a couple different colors of yarn, and then this weekend I knit the body, which is super cute. It's got a little bit of colorwork detail on the bottom, and then it's got this really creative decrease section that makes the bottom kind of like a flat rectangle. And then I went ahead and did Gnocchi's cute nose, which looks a little bit like gnocchi the pasta. So this was super fun. The directions were very clear. The clues came out every few days for, I think, about 2 or 2.5 weeks, which meant it was kind of a quick project. Toys are always notoriously a little bit fiddly. So if that does not interest you, I will just tell you right now that does happen. The beard itself was pretty fun to knit, and I kind of, it was funny because then I went and looked at the spoiler thread to make sure I had done it correctly, and what I had was looking correct. The hat was pretty simple to knit. I did use fingering weight yarn, and those of you who've been with me for a while might recognize that these are the colors that I used for my color affection shawl, which I knit for my aunt earlier this year. I had plenty of yarn left. Actually, I still have some left of all 3 colors, but my guess is he used maybe 50 yards, maybe a little bit more, probably not more than 100 yards, and he, well, I probably shouldn't say that because I haven't weighed it and I don't know. For stuffing, I actually used, I had a bag that I keep on the couch. It's just a trash bag, basically, and I use all of the ends, and I use it to hold all of the ends that I've clipped off of things as I've woven in ends. And of course, I have been knitting lots of chickens, and so I had lots of fluffy wool ends, and so I went ahead and put that in here. And then the other thing she suggests is that you put something a little bit weighted in there so that he stands up well. And she suggested weighted stuffing or other things. I did not have any of the above in the house. But I did have a planter that a friend of mine gave me a few years ago that has fake plants in it. And she had filled it from the bottom all the way up to the top with rocks. And so I grabbed a small handful of rocks and put them in a very tiny drawstring bag and set them in kind of at the bottom. So he is just a little bit weighted, and he will stand up on his own even if I don't hold him up. And so he has been sitting on my desk and keeping me company. So that is Make No Mistake by Imagine Landscapes, who is Sarah Shira. I will put a link to the pattern in the show notes. She has patterns on Ravelry and on Payhip, and I believe she has an Etsy store as well. And that was kind of a fun finish for this weekend. So the main project that I have actually made a ton of progress on this week is the sample that I am knitting for Zen Yarn Garden. This is the Litzy Shawl by Linnea Orenstein, and it is a basically short row extravaganza. It starts in the center with a short row with a circle of laurel leaves, completed in short row shaping against a background color of just a neutral. And then after you finish the circle in the center, you move out to the wings. The yarns that I am using are Zen Yarn Garden Superfine Fingering, which is their luscious 100% superwash merino, and it is in the natural colorway, which again is not too exciting. And then I am using a sock blank. This is a gradient dyed in the Woodlands colorway on their Superfine Merino. So this is a lovely project, and I have made a ton of progress. If you remember last week, I had just finished the circle, and so I was able to show you the circle itself, and I had started on the first wing. I actually completed the first wing and was able to start on the second wing. So this is what we have now. Like I said, it is a, let's make sure I have that correct, it is a shawl that starts at the center and works outward. So I am showing you one of the wings and the short row shaping leaves, and you can see some of the gradient in here. And remember, this was the center. And so I started at kind of a minty green and then went out to kind of a darker green with some black. And then we moved through some brown and into some russet across these leaves and out to the edge. And all my ends are as so far, all of my ends are woven in, but they are not clipped yet, because once I figure out precisely how I'm going to block this bad boy, I will then figure out what I want to do with my ends. I generally don't clip my ends before blocking, because sometimes the object grows and I don't like those ends to pop out and have to go back and clip them or try and weave them in again. So I finished this this wing of the shawl, I believe, on Saturday, and then yesterday I started on the second wing of the shawl. So I picked back up where I was. You can see the center circle, and I have completed the first of 4 sections on the wing. So that was the largest section. I expect that I should be able to complete the next 3 sections in the next few nights, and then this one will be done. To go back to what I was saying about blocking, I am not 100% sure what I am going to do about blocking yet. This pattern is worked in garter stitch, which, as you know, is really fluffy and gorgeous. And one of the other things that it does is it handles short rows and short row shaping fairly well. The pattern calls for wrap and turns. And to be honest, if I were to do this again, I probably would use German short rows. The only thing that I have found frustrating is there are sections where you can tell where I did some short row shaping, and then some of the stitches are a little bit, they don't have quite the same tension as the other stitches, and that's a little bit hard to resolve once you have moved beyond there. And I have tried to pull tight, but I do have some tension issues between them. And what I haven't decided for blocking is, this is already a fairly sizable shawl. This is already basically my wingspan, even without blocking it. And I also like that the garter stitch makes it pretty squishy. So what I'm trying to resolve is, I think a full wet block would probably even out my stitches a little bit better and possibly resolve some of those issues in tension. But I think I'm probably likely to just do a steam block, because I really would just like this to lie flat. And I don't necessarily want it to expand out and grow more. And one of the problems is that if I do a complete wet block, it will probably, it will grow in these sections where there's garter stitch. And even if I try and kind of smush it back into shape, it still will kind of grow and lose some of that squishiness. So you may not see this again. And the reason I say that is because my plan is to finish it this week, and then I hope that I can block it, and then possibly even send it off for photography before I leave. The interesting thing is that all of us will be at the show next week. I know Zen Yarn Garden will be there, and then the photographer who photographs all the pieces for Zen Yarn Garden is Gail Zucker, and she is teaching a class there. So I know that I will see all of them next week, but I don't know that they're gonna want me to bring things to the show for them to take home, because that seems silly. But I don't know, because I suppose Zen Yarn Garden could put this up in their booth. So the answer is, I don't know precisely what's going to happen with this shawl, but one way or another, I probably won't have it by the time I podcast again, because I will either have packed it up and mailed it off before I leave this weekend, so it will be waiting for Gail when she gets home, or I will take it with me to the show, and then it will go home with someone else for photography or kits. So this is probably the last time you will see this. I will take photos and put them up on my Instagram, and I do put all sample knits that I knit are up on my Ravelry page, and if you are interested but can't use Ravelry, I can certainly send you a copy if you would like to see it finished. But I don't think this one is going to end up coming back to the podcast with me, because I think one way or another it is going off to its forever home before I see you again. So again, that is the Litzy Shawl by Linnea Orenstein. She has a variety of patterns in different shapes and different techniques, but a lot of her patterns are leafy, inspired by nature, and use short rows. So that is what I have to show you this week, and again, that's going to be what I'm going to primarily focus my time on this week. So I did not bring my niece Roxy's sweater back. I have about an inch or an inch and a half on the upper sleeve. Once I finished the Litzy Shawl, that is where I'm going to turn my attention to. And then the other thing that I will tell you is I am going to go back to a whip that I put down a couple months ago because things got in the way, and my plan is to take my oyster sweater with me, which is a pattern that was in the, in the spring collection, in the spring summer Rowan 2022 collection. I am knitting it in Cotton Glacé, which is a cotton yarn from Rowan. It is in a deep dark purple, and the reason that I am taking that with me is because it is pretty much stockinette and reverse stockinette all the entire way. You may remember I finished the back, and the sleeves are actually knit, the sweater is knit in kind of a T shape, so you knit the back, which is the arms, and then the body, and then the fronts are knit basically in a T shape, but, well, I guess 2 L's, because it is a cardigan. So, and I haven't decided, I might actually knit them both on the same time at the same needle, using 2 different balls of yarn. But if I knit them concurrently, then they are very, very likely to be the same, have the same number of rows and have all my shaping echo. So basically I just need to duplicate what I did for the back, except that I need to do it in 2 pieces. And as I said, it's a bunch of ribbing. It's like 4 or 5 inches of ribbing down at the bottom, and then it is just stockinette and reverse stockinette. And there is no shaping in the body. The shaping comes up by the arms. And so my thought is that that is something that I can cast on and I can work on without really counting, without really paying attention. It will be good for conversation. It will be good in bed at night in the hotel. And so it is something that I can kind of work on that doesn't require a lot of concentration. I am not taking Roxy's sweater with me because I don't want her to see it yet. I like those things to be a surprise. And I'll probably throw a couple balls of stock yarn in there as well, just because I never like going anywhere without knitting. But I really see my knitting time next week as fairly limited because, again, I'm mostly going to be working, and when I'm not working, I'm going to try and spend some time with the kids. So that is kind of the knitting content for this week. I will move on briefly to spinning, and then we'll finish up and get you out of here for the day. So I did finish a spin this week. I was very excited to finish my spin from Kumasi. This is a 21.5 micron count remoulé, which is springy and beautiful. It is soft like merino, but it has a lot more crimp, so it's got a lot more body. And this was in very fall colors, oranges and purples and greens and a little bit of yellow, and I am really pleased with how this came out. One way or another, I lost some of the singles during plying. One way or another, this came out to be a little bit light. It is only about either 3.4 or 3.5 ounces, as opposed to my standard 4 ounces and approximately 113 grams. So it is a little bit light as a skein. It is probably a fingering weight yarn. I got 356 yards, but again, I got that at, missing half an ounce or 1/8 of the skein. So I suspect that it is a nice fingering weight, and as long as you don't have really large feet, it would be lovely for socks, or it would be lovely for something else. So again, this is about 350 yards of approximately a fingering, maybe bordering on sport weight, and I'm going to take some photos right now and make sure it's up in the shop by the time this is live. It will be a little bit discounted because it's a little bit less fiber and yardage, but that will be there for you if you are interested. This week I am continuing to spin on Rambouillet, and or Rambouillet if you pronounce it the French way, and this is a fun special order dye from Hello Yarn called All Bark and No Bite, and it has kind of some fun oranges and peaches and yellows, and then it also has this really great teal blue. This is half the fiber is already spun on bobbins, and my hope is that I can finish this and ply this before I leave town. I leave town on Sunday the 19th, Father's Day, very early in the morning, so my hope is I will finish it. If not, I will finish it when I get back. I do not expect to have spinning next week because I am not taking my wheel with me. I do have an electric wheel, but given that my crafting time is going to be so limited, and I'm also bringing a camera and a laptop and a million other things, I decided not to bring up my spinning wheel with me on this particular vacation. So that is what I have going on. For those of you who are interested in Tour de Fleece, I have started the team in numerous places. There is a thread in the group on Ravelry. There is also a Facebook group called Team CKT, Spin It to Win It. If you would like to join, it is open to anyone to join. All you have to do is just declare you would like to be on the team in one of those places, or send me an email, or tag me on Instagram. Our team tag is Team CKT 2022. And so that is our tag for Tour de Fleece. Tour de Fleece is echoes, it's a spinning event, and it echoes the Tour de France, which runs this year from July 1st through July 24th. There will be, I watch the tour every day. I love watching the bike race, but that is certainly not a requirement. My team has very, very, very few requirements, and I wouldn't even necessarily say they're requirements, more like guidelines. Spin, have fun. If you want to be considered eligible for prizes, you do need to A, let me know that you're interested in participating on the team, and then I also do basically I usually draw for 4 or 5 prizes throughout the tour, and 2 or 3 of them are generally based on the chatty threads, both on Ravelry or if you share pictures on Instagram or on Facebook. With the hashtag or in the group, and so I do draw some of the prizes using a random number generator from chatty threads, and then at the end I ask everyone to submit a photo of their finished spins, and then I draw 1 to 2 prize winners from that, again using the random number generator. And if you cannot participate on either Facebook or Ravelry, or you choose not to, you are welcome to again email me or flag me on Instagram. Tag me on Instagram and just let me check out your posts there. I want people to participate. I don't want the platform that it's on to be part of it. You know, Tour de Fleece is what you make of it. Spin as much as you want, cheer other people on, chat, enjoy it, or just do it on your own. There are no specific goals or milestones or things you need to do. And like I said, you just need to participate if you want to be eligible for prizes. If you just prefer to compete on your own, and just join us in spirit only but not reach out to me, that is fine too. And I also have no rules about if you want to spin for a million other teams, please feel free. You can double, triple dip all of your spins. I have no rules about anything really. I just want to encourage people to participate because it is a fabulous time of the year and I love it. So I think that's it. I apologize if I was sounding like the chipmunks throughout this. I know I'm on an adrenaline rush and I'm trying to get all kinds of things done this week. But I hope you have a lovely week ahead of you with lots of time to craft, and it will be 2 weeks until I see you again. So take good care of yourselves, enjoy your crafting, and I will come see you again in 2 weeks. Until then, I will say, as I always do, happy knitting, happy spinning, happy sipping, and I'll see you next time. Bye!